every evening you are there. Are you the only one around? How much are you bringing home? It becomes a problem.
In the meantime, there's no diesel in the generator.
There's no diesel in the generator. You cannot buy this. Please, you want to go out and somebody is going to lock the door and then keep the key there. I said you are not going.
Maybe Lillian too will be talking about
it's a whole lot of challenges. So
no social life for you.
No social life for you and so on. So there are so many of these things. But what we try to do, like for instance, leadership plays a whole lot of roles. Like for instance in FCT now, in the Special Marshal, what we have decided to do now is that we've also decided to use those of us who are gainfully employed, not just gainfully employed, who have some very serious means of livelihood and others who are comfortable, to be able to assist also those who are not too comfortable. For instance, we try to come up with something like we call cooperative among ourselves, where you can take some benefits home at the end of the year, and then you now tell your wife, from that place I have always gone, this is what I have brought. Or your husband, this is what I'm coming home with. And then the person becomes happy.
But then, for you, sorry to interject, yes. For you, yes. For Rotary, yes. But what about for Nathan?
No, Nathan, that is the point. That is the point I was trying to, that is why I said the government have a lot of roles. Somebody just said it in the tweet. The government has a lot of role to play. Now, if this man is so passionate about this that he's doing, now I have known today because it's here on air. You also have a whole lot of role to play. If you have not brought him here, none of us could possibly meet him on the road without knowing that he's doing this. Now, what stops me from tomorrow seeing him coming out of one of the hospitals and say, you are going to do this thing again. Please come. I need to pay your fare home. No, I need to buy fuel in your car. No, I need to assist you in this or in that and so on. Or he has met me today and said, look, I've been doing this, but I think I need one land somewhere because he knows that I am in that department and I can do this. And because of this passion, I could go all out to give him assistance. He perhaps would have benefited from this. So this is how it works. It's a chain, it's a network. And that is how it can work.
What could be the foundation that would serve as an incubation for future volunteers, Abdullahi? Now, growing up, we used to have youth clubs like Boy Scouts, Boys Brigade, St. John's Ambulance, Girls Guide, Man of War, and all that. Leadership training, you got some training in that, and it also told you about volunteer, how to care for your neighbor, depending on the circumstance. I don't know how much of that is going on now, but that could be, is that necessarily an incubation that could stoke the fire and the passion in somebody who then becomes a volunteer for whatever cause in future?
Yeah, it has a great impact. But for me, it starts from your home. Where you have kids given responsibilities, you have them also taking responsibilities for certain things, even at home, begins to drive a sense of, yeah, I can take care of this, I can do this, I can do that. And without being told to do the right thing, you see them taking that step to do it. My first experience to volunteer was one which, at that time, I didn't see it as volunteerism. Was when I was in secondary school back in the 80s. We had, I think I was either in JS2 or so. We had someone who was coming to write internal WAEC then, and the guy was disabled on wheelchairs, someone who could not really walk. So his own case was really bad, and in the whole lots that were in the school and all, I was the only one who just sort of stepped out to say, look, I will help you when you want to go to certain places and all that, like to the bathroom, the convenience, to the class and so on, the period of the exams. And for me, I was doing it without anything attached. I was not having the niche or the inclination that I was doing, and I was just being myself at that point. So it was later in life, I think just because of this thing that it struck me that I was actually giving my time, because I had to skip certain class work and all that to at least just see that whenever he finishes his exams, I take him to the room, he rests, whenever he has the next paper and all that. So for me, education plays a great impact, but that education starts from the home. Then when you take it to the school, the curriculum, I don't know what the curriculums are today. And where you see kids not having some drive to certain things or not even noticing certain things, you are sort of scared where the society is going. You might have your kids in the car driving. They will see either a child on the road and they will be curious as to why is this person here. That already is a fire, because a question has been asked. Then it's now left for that parent to now say, this is how it is, this is how it is, and the person can do better. That is where it really starts.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because I know in other climes, volunteerism is formalized. So you have a roster, I understand, of volunteers, even domiciled at the UN headquarters in Bonn, that's managed. So do we have different types of or categories of volunteers? Because some are also paid, given some form of allowances. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, here in Nigeria, like we have been saying all the while, is not being encouraged. It's not encouraged. Where it is encouraged, what you have said now strives. Now, have we also taken cognizance of even the number of terrorism organizations in Nigeria? The NGOs, have we taken cognizance of them? Is Nigeria passionate about this group of persons? We were on the lighter mode, we were just discussing outside there. And we said, even in our electioneering processes, if the volunteers are made to man the elections in this country, I'm sure we'll do a lot better than what we are doing today, because so many corruption activities have been attached to it. So if we have people who have this passion and have taken themselves completely away from the financial aspect, I'm sure they will do better without minding who's all these gods. So for me, I think that the government should do more for us to be able to improve. Now, I am one person that don't really agree with the fact that volunteerism strives better out there than it is in Nigeria. No. But how we manage it here is the problem. And how they manage us there is the issue. But I think we are more passionate about volunteering. Let me give you an instance. One of these countries, the commercial and chief executives can say this better. One of these countries, at one time or the other, had come to Nigeria here to understudy how these special marshals are able to carry out these activities without being paid, and they are not asking for. I think that is a plus to Nigeria. Right. You understand? So it means that for them to have been able to come, it means we are doing well. So, and that means it said, look, to us here, we just have to attach something. We need to give them something for them to be able to come out again the next day. Because the number of hours you put in matters most. But let me conclude this, because maybe I may not have the opportunity again. I plead that it is best for us to include some of these volunteerism activities into our curriculum. It can be done. Like we do extracurricular activities in schools. Now, how they are managed, how they are done, is what matters. So if these people are able to manage themselves at this point and understand that it's not all about money, you can give in so much, even with very little. I'm sure as they grow up, like they say, teach a child the way to go. And when that child grows, he will not depart away from it. So I think it's best we can start from that end.
Yeah, I think, based on what has been said, perhaps we also need to state this emphatically, that volunteerism is not strange to us in Nigeria. In the rural areas, for instance, you find many examples of volunteerism. If a man has come of age and he decides to build a house in the village or in his community, you'll find there will be persons of his age group or those who are even older who would volunteer their time and energy, so that instead of going to the farm on that day, if they say they want to build a coach, they say there's several coaches, it's a mud brick that they are using, you will find, of course, all it needs to do will be to cook for them, and then they all do that. Even in cooking, some others will also say, all right, we are donating yams to you, we are donating vegetables, and so on and so forth. So the members of the community who would come to assist him will not be asking for a dime. That's volunteering their time, volunteering their energy, and also resources. Because ordinarily, if you were to do that in the urban area, labor costs, as we see in construction these days, will almost drive you out of that endeavor. So, what Nathan, do you again? What keeps you going? 61 times, do you get discouraged? I mean, do you have anxieties or even fears?
Thank you very much. I want to speak first on the future of being a volunteer person. When you see what you put in place is growing, there's a future. You know that you are not stagnant. You are moving forward. So to me, far 2005, I never believed that I would continue donating. In fact, the very first day when they gave me form to fill, I read a long form and all those things talking about my past life in the past 2 years. I fill the form. I said, okay, let me try. It was like a trial. So after the first donation, I got the message that my blood has gotten to somewhere that I am, I'm fit to donate. The second time, when I donated 14 times, somebody called me, say, are you sure these people are not selling this blood and you are just here? You trek from here to the other side, you walk from your house to bus stop, and somebody is sitting down there collecting money from, And the worst part of it was that when a member of my family now asked me that I was in one hospital and they told they called me and said my wife needs 2 pints of blood and that would cost me 120,000. I said, 120,000. That I'm a donor, let's go there. He said, no, I've already paid the money. I've paid the money, so my wife is back. So, I took my time. I went to NBTA to sit down to see if it is true that they are collecting money. And, I sat down there for some time. People start coming in, even from the State House, with the cooler, collect 2 pints, collect this one. And at a point, the blood was not even enough. So that was one of the drive that I saw. I said, it's not even enough. And somebody is telling me that, why are you keeping on? Another thing was that when I was about to marry, my mother-in-law said, I cannot give you my wife because you are a blood donor.
So that blood will not finish.
Because I don't think you will be able to give me a grandchild. I said, what? This is 2 months to the wedding. And I was like, oh, man, it's not like that. I called my wife somewhere. I said, you see what is happening now. So you are the corner of this wedding. If you don't say anything, it will not work. So my wife went back and told her, and said, Mommy, before I met him, he was already a blood donor. So now there's nothing that she just leave us alone. It was a serious matter, and at the end of the day, by the grace of God, that marriage has produced 2 boys now.
Wow.
So it gives me joy to continue. And the challenge is so much that it's not easy for you to talk to, friends. I have tried to form a group on my own. At any time I want to take them there, they will say, Nathan, I'm not ready for that till next time. So I will just go. But the joy always comes that when they see me, they will say, this guy is still living fresh. How old are you? So it gives me that joy to continue. The last time I donated, somebody asked me, say, like how many times? I heard of somebody in Australia that donated about 1.something million pounds. And it was like a record in Australia, James Harrison. So I emulate him. When he started, he said, the doctor said that he has one particular substance of blood that was antibiotic to the pregnant women. So when he gets to 16 years, he was already donating. I started at the age of 23. So it makes me to feel that, somebody has done it. Me, I can do it. Yes. And again, when I see the thing growing and people are, coming up, now NBTA is not like before. Anytime I go there, before my donation, I see 3 or 4 people donating. And I know that some Nigerians are coming, are proud of it. And it's not something about money all the time. I call on all those who can do it, that it's possible. It's about less than 40 minutes, you give a pint of blood to save somebody's life, to make another person to live just like you.
Nathan, thank you. Nathan, thank you. And we can also understand why people try to, avoid volunteering, in terms of blood donation. we all know, some of the reasons. But
I is your mother-in-law now.
Oh yes.
but again, from other parts of the world, it would appear that even Nigerians, would prefer to do voluntary work for international organizations, rather than even, joining structures here. So briefly, and I will start from you, how do you think we can ramp up, muster people, to really develop the culture of volunteerism?
Yeah, like they say,
What can be done now?
Yeah,
in the immediate.
Yeah, we need enough sensitization. Let's forget about the international countries now. Even we Nigerians, we have a whole lot. Nigeria is, we have a very good potentials. So we need to sensitize them, because these people are running to, whatever you are running to, you are getting there. We also have it here in Nigeria. So let us cultivate the actual volunteerism in them. Let them know that you can actually volunteer even within your community. You don't need to go far. The little things you do in your community also matters a lot. People are saying it. You might not know that you are doing a whole lot, but those little things you do, people always acknowledges it.
Okay, some people say Nigeria is an exciting place to do voluntary work. How true is that, and what can we do?
Yeah, it actually is. Just like he mentioned earlier about Nigeria being a community. It's actually a community. It's just that the effects of globalization, urbanization has actually tweaked the whole setup, and wherever you find yourself, you have people still coming together to do certain things. And accountability plays a great role. Integrity also has its own role to play in it. And we must try to promote this in individuals, in organizations. And when we're able to do that, I think we would reap the benefit of it in this country.
Abdullah, thanks. Claire, there are a wide variety of areas in which people can volunteer.
Yeah.
Why? There's no limitation. We're talking about climate change. Somebody can volunteer and say, listen, I'm going to organize like minds. We'll go to the Ministry of Agriculture in our state and get the appropriate seedlings for us to plant trees. Every Saturday, we're going to plant so many trees. Every Saturday or every other day, we're going to water these trees. And then you see those trees grow. If you do it in one community, do it in another community, before you know it, we'll be able to stop the advance of the desert. And some others can also say, all right, so these children who are out of school, we would organize them into groups, for tutorials or extramural lectures and so on and so forth. So that's part of what you can do. Think of an area where there is need and how you can step in, and that's the critical message that our guests this morning have put out. And of course, your reward will be plentiful. Okay.
To start from here.
We'll start. All right. All right. So on that note, we'd like to thank our guests who've been with us in the studios. Engineer Adaje Usman. Engineer Adaje Usman is the coordinator of the FCT Federal Road Safety Corps Special Marshal. Thanks a lot for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me here.
Lillian Ike, CEO and founder, Lillian Ike Foundation. Thanks a lot for being around.
Thank you.
Rotarian Abdullahi Idris, District Secretary, Rotary International District 9125. Thank you for being here. And Nathan John donated blood 61 times, probably the highest blood donor in Nigeria. And we have 2 bouncing baby boys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And an amiable mother-in-law.
Right now.
That's good.
Okay.
All right, of course, time for sports. Let's join sports desk. Of course, the story is that President of Nigeria Football Federation has assured Ogbemudia Stadium that it will pass FIFA test. And of course, we have Super Eagles maintaining 31st position in the world and 3rd position in Africa in terms of FIFA ranking. Let's join our sports desk for today's of these and all the sports stories.
The president of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Amaju Picnic, has assured that the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City, which has been chosen by the body to host the Super Eagles' first 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifying match, will pass the upcoming FIFA test. Picnic disclosed this during the Nigerian Football Federation annual general meeting on Tuesday in Benin. He also informed that a delegation of FIFA will inspect the stadium in February 2020 to satisfy fit to host World Cup qualifiers, and expressed confidence that the revamped stadium will pass the litmus test. The Super Eagles are expected to feature at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium for the first time since 2011, when they drew goalless with Botswana in an international friendly match. The Super Eagles of Nigeria were non-movers as they ended 2019 at number 31 at the latest FIFA Coca-Cola World Ranking. The latest FIFA World Ranking was released on Thursday and published on FIFA's official website. In Africa, the Super Eagles also maintained their position at number 3. The Teranga Lions of Senegal, runners-up at the 2019 AFCON, rounded off the year as Africa's highest-ranked team as they remained 20th position in the world and number 1 in Africa. While Tunisia, who lost in the third-place match to Super Eagles at this year's AFCON, are 7 places below Senegal in the FIFA World Ranking and are the continent's second-best team. Meanwhile, Belgium are the FIFA number 1 ranking team of the year for the second successive time after a record-breaking year.
All right, Kingsley.
Yeah, that does it for us for today and indeed for the week on